Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the second part of our conversation with the mother. Today, she brought a guest with her to discuss some of the um HIPAA, identity theft, um, extraction of personal data. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get into our conversation. So can you tell everyone who you are and your name?
Hi, my name is Sharlynne Ziolkowski. My business is Sharsky Solutions, and I spent about 2.5 years working for an identity theft protection company, most of that time helping people recover their identity after their identity had been stolen.
Okay. And is this identity theft through like digital means, or how are people's identities being taken?
They're being taken through credit cards, through applying for credit cards or loan, medical, stealing their identity to get cars. I've helped people who have had, or they file taxes. We just got done with tax time.
Yeah.
And they'll file taxes in either their name or their kids' names. Just lots of different things. And it just depends on what's happened and how extensive it gets. Right now, the big concentration I've seen is data breaches. If you've ever gotten a letter in the mail from like a doctor's office saying, hey, we've been part of a data breach.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. And a lot of people just go, oh, when they don't know what to do and they throw it away, or they don't follow the directions. So
Okay.
my goal is to help people prevent identity theft, which is getting worse and worse every year.
Thank you for joining us. The mother. Are we still going by the mother? I don't want to put your name out there, so I just kind of titled it the mother.
It's fine.
That's fine. Okay. Let us know how you connected with her and the purpose for bringing her into this situation.
I feel like energy and God, or whatever you guys believe, everything is connected somehow, that we're all part of a piece, and it's just reaching out. And I was at a place in my life before I met her long ago that I felt I needed just to ponder and sit and just have my moment, though. And this sweet person drove, but they felt to come back. And during that time, they sat next to me when I was just having my moment of like, where do I need to go, or what direction I need to take? And as we had this conversation, we were kind of both on like the same wavelength, like same story, but didn't really know. And I was about to leave, like this isn't happening. But she's a cancer survivor. And I was telling her about how I had surgery that was removed, and they said it was benign, but then I had things metastasize, like from down below all the way up to my lungs, to my breast, up to my throat, and things neurologically, as she and others have seen, has been affecting me, as I'm not getting help outside at the hospitals. And so when we sat, and she sat next to me, she says, I have an extra card from this doctor's office. And when she gave it to me, it was for an oncologist. I flip it over, I kid you not, my name was on it. I still have it. I said, why is my name on this card? And she said, that's the receptionist. And I knew with energy and everything else, God was saying, you need to get help. But I tried to get help, but with the medical malpractice, and because I am liability because of the truth of what my ex-husband does, and the HIPAA laws that the military, broke, trying to hide the proof of what they did, I can't get help outside though. So that is why I'm trying to tell my story, because I don't know when God's going to take me after 4 years of this, because I want my kids to know I'm fighting the good fight for them. And so after that, I went outside to seek help, just because of the whole medical kidnapping, and they told me to leave. And as I had my friends coming down to the hospital, as they were there for the birth, still had rights. They said, they're taking my child. They did not give, they lied. And so they said, you needed to go outside for an ICPC. And when I did, I was seeking outside help for this case at this time. And when I did, I was praying, and she fasted at a time and a duration where God was aligning things. And she's like, how can I help somebody, especially with a big case like this? And she reached out to me, and she says, I do identity theft. I'm like, well, let's just get back together again. We need to work and just expose this, because it's not about just exposing it. It's about rights being taken away, not just my identity, not that the military just disclosed, but also a bigger picture, which paints it from the beginning though.
Okay. And have you reviewed her case?
I've reviewed it a little bit, yeah. I know what's going on, and I've seen some of the documents.
Can you explain what the violation is and what specifically does she have a case for?
Okay, so what HIPAA is, it's health information protection. And whenever you go into a doctor's office, they ask you to sign information saying, that they are by law legally obligated to give you information on HIPAA and how to protect yourself. And basically it's you put down who can have access to your medical information.
Yes.
Is what HIPAA is for. What the mother has is she's got a document. She's able to get a copy of a document that someone signed her name, which is identity theft.
And fraud.
And fraud.
Yeah.
Yes. Is you can't sign somebody else's name. There are times that you can, like if you're a guardian or if you're a caretaker, but it should have on there who you are and why you're signing it for someone else.
Okay.
And it should have that information. But anytime a legal document is signed in somebody else's name,
yeah,
it's illegal.
Are these the documents you're sharing here?
Yes.
Let me switch over to that. Okay. So we'll zoom it in when we post that here. But what is this document we're looking at here?
This is a documentation of where I was, after the assault, they planted a plot and put me in a government private facility where they were trying to hide the truth of what I knew. I was only there for 6 hours, and I have, as I highlighted that, they released it to his master sergeant and 309th Squadron on here. And as I circled the signatures down below, you can see these two, they do not add up. They're two different signatures in itself. And so that in itself is, like I said, a federal act crime, but they were trying to disclose information saying that I am bipolar or crazy or delusional. And the documentation, which I have, I did not upload, but they said in the medical, records that they wrote, they said I'm a white female, which I'm not white, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white. They said that her husband doesn't know who her doctor is, her psychiatrist. I have in my notes, which I can pull up later, but my doctor at the Mayo Clinic for my psychiatrist said that I met her husband post deployment, and her children, like he was always there and aware, but to have statements that they broke HIPAA law and then wrote documentations that weren't true, but then have a doctor's note stating that there's no, diagnosed manifestation of bipolar, nor do I think it's a correct diagnosis. I met her husband on before deployment and know what's going on in their marriage. Like, that in itself is shocking to me, because I have been very consistent and honest with everybody. And to see that they took my rights away to hide the truth to protect this man, which at the time I did not know fully what he did, because like I said, it was just me pushing through and just kind of isolated from being adopted to in a toxic family, which I did everything and have statements from those growing up in the home and reaching out to my family, to being married to somebody, and dated for 6 weeks and then engaged in the next month. Like, it's hard when you don't see everything forefront. Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Okay, so I do have a little bit of knowledge here. I know at the bottom of this, the RI and the heart, that's an inpatient facility, correct?
Yes.
So this was at a mental health clinic.
Yes.
That they forged it on. During this time, were you seeking treatment? Were you getting help there, or was
no? They did an ABA petition. So after he assaulted me, he went to family and him and signed a petition to put me in.
Involuntarily?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And I didn't. So they came while I was with a friend, a witness there, as I was reading scriptures, and the officers felt bad to remove me from that. Mm-hmm. So I was handcuffed in front of my kids reading scriptures with people from church in my home as I was getting them ready for bed to hide the truth, because he assaulted me off of, and found out what he did on base, which I showed that statement in the last one. Like, they did not follow with his mental intake. Yeah. So when I have documents and proof, which I can show that, but just all my paperwork of the Mayo clinics and then printing out all Walgreens of the medicines to show like I am following what I'm doing. So where is it going? Why is it a catch-22? Why am I being the one pointed saying that I'm crazy for being honest and true?
So, and you might be you are the expert on this. If she doesn't have a public fiduciary or guardian, someone on her behalf, no one should be able to sign that.
That is correct.
Even if it is a mental inpatient facility.
If it's a mental inpatient facility, they should have some sort of documentation as to why she was admitted. Who was admitting her. If she was put in there by the police, there should be a police report, and she should be able to get a copy of all of that information.
Okay. Have you gotten a copy of that information?
I've gotten a copy of the whole disclosure of the RI when I was there for six to 7 hours, because they brought me in around 8:45, 9, and then they let me go around 6:30, 7 o'clock, I believe. And then that's when the person from church that was there when they removed me from my home, they picked me up, at the same time. And then she was in the car when she heard that David was upset, like they weren't doing their job right and yada, yada, yada. And so when I'm hearing that, it's just like, okay, like what else do I have to do to make sure I'm safe when I can't trust in authorities like that?
My next question would be, who signed it, right? Like who took the authority to sign that document? Was it a staff there? Was it someone in your family on your behalf? Have you found out that?
I believe it's a staff. If I remember, I do remember Tony Ramirez being there. But the thing about the Tony Ramirez, the only thing that I can catch is that the signatures would be consistent. Yeah. The fact that the signatures are not consistent, even when you look at Tony, they're different. And that's where I know, this is above my head. Even in the system on base, when I went to HIPAA law, to them, I have their card, and she said this is not in their system. This goes away above her head. Every documentation, on HIPAA and medical, they have a generated system. Mm-hmm. This was not in her system. And so seeing the proof of these two signatures not matching up, nor the name, I know that it was two different people doing specific things.
Got you. So what does she do next? In this situation, what would be her next steps?
She would have to go to the, there's a government agency where you can file a complaint of a HIPAA violation, and that's what I have advised her to do next. Have copies of these and let them know exactly what happened, when it happened, how it happened. Just keep that documentation. If they ask for copies, just give them the copies. Don't give them the original.
Right.
And just file that complaint. Whether or not they do anything with that complaint, and she may never see that they do anything with that complaint. And that's what unfortunately, that's what a lot of government agencies do. Whether you file a police report, whether you file a complaint like this, they should keep her advised of what is going on, but they probably wouldn't tell her exactly what the next steps that they are going to take are.
So the government and military has a different law system.
It's their own.
In which is not public at all. You can't get records, right? You can't request to files or what have you, follow-ups.
Their stuff they cannot disclose that information. It's very private, for their members and things like that. They will not release their own members because they're government property. The one thing that I have learned is that in the government, it is legal and there's lawful. Legal is power and authority, which is most people are doing in the legal by their power and authority of what they want to do. Lawful is true by the Constitution. And what we're doing now, we do not abide nor do what the Constitution says. They just want to use their power and authority and play God, and that's not what God wants instead, or whatever man might say with energy. I'm just saying it does not make sense to be able to do those steps as I have done, of going to the FBI. I have pictures and screenshots that I submitted my complaint to the FBI of the military breaking HIPAA laws and releasing it to their squadron. I have called them. They hung up quick. They did not give me a case number. I spoke to a police officer. He gave me he said this would go up, investigation would go up to the AG. He said this is huge. So that was, I'm not going to disclose his name, but he says he's going to call somebody. So he called an officer in Avondale, and so he gave me a report number. So when I got that report number, he says, you need to go to Peoria, where this happened, and go to ... So I went there. They gave me another report number. The officer there told me that they're doing the runaround, and so he had his gloves and he was about to, but then he came in with the lady at the gas station, which I won't say her name, but he said that they were going to, his sergeant told him to drop the case. I said, are you kidding me? And so that is what's shocking, is that no matter what I do to portray this truth, and that the fact that they planted a plot because I knew what happened as being a victim and a survivor, and now my kids are trapped, I don't know what else I can do, because the government, no matter if I'm exposing a federal act crime, they're going to hide the truth.
Yeah.
And there should be some sort of Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
And because she's not in the military. Her ex-husband is in the military. She is not in the military, so she should be able to get access to any of her documents.
You would think so. We need kind of an Eric Snowden to bust in there and get that information. I guess at this point, the best course of action would be to let the public know what's going on, which is why you're here, to let people know. This is kind of the situation I'm in. This is where I'm stuck a little bit. You're going to have to follow her protocol, though, filing with the, what do you call?
With the HIPAA violation committee.
So you're going to have to do those steps. And then from there, continue to, publicly demand, follow-up. Like, essentially someone, hopefully, out there with some power or political pull can make sure that's followed up on, watching this or hearing about it.
I'll do a segment of, here's my screenshots of I submitted, here's the police reports, here's this. They're doing nothing. What is the next steps? I've done everything that anybody in identity theft would do to hold them accountable and let the people speak as they should use their voices of what has happened to their story too. It's not just me.
Yes. Before we close out here, for identity theft, how can people get a hold of you? You're going to share a link with me.
I'm going to share a link with you. It's Sharsky Solutions. I'm on, okay. I'll start my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't posted anything yet. I am on Instagram. Okay. I will be on TikTok, and I am on Facebook.
Okay. And what advice do you have for people that, besides reaching out to you, to not get caught up in identity theft?
Make sure that your passwords are secure. Don't use the same password for every account that you have. Mm-hmm. Don't have a lot of apps on your phone. I know that's the big thing. Everybody, have an app, and you have your apps for the store and the fast food and everything like that. But you lose your phone, guess what?
Yeah.
They have that information. So just limit that. Limit the number of credit cards that you have. When you get documents in the mail or that, like credit card offers or something like that, shred them. Mm-hmm. Don't let them out. If you're going to mail a check, I know a lot of people don't mail checks anymore, but if you are going to mail a check, don't put it in your mailbox for the post office to pick up. Take it directly to the post office. Yeah. Because people will steal those checks, take your information, scrub the check and make it out for something else, and then they can use your identity to do more. Okay. And just watch your bank account. First thing I would do for anyone, regardless if you've had identity theft or not, pull all of your credit reports. You can go to annualcreditreport.com and you can pull your credit reports right now every week. I wouldn't do it every week, but like once a month. Mm-hmm. Put a fraud alert and a credit freeze on it. Whether you've had identity theft or not, put the fraud alert and a credit freeze. Okay. And that way, no one can get credit in your name. You do have to lift the freeze if you want to get credit, but you can do that for a certain period of time. For example, if you want to buy a car, you say, okay, I want to lift the freeze from Thursday to Monday. The freeze will lift. You can go buy the car. The freeze goes back on. Okay. But then it's kind of like, do you leave your door unlocked? Yeah. Or do you, so anybody can walk in anytime? It's the same with your credit. Without that freeze, your door's unlocked. Yeah. So lock it.
I would also like to add, just be careful who you're doing business with. Because I accidentally sent a Zelle to the wrong person, mm-hmm. and I'm not getting that money back.
No, you're not going to get the money back, and now they have your information.
And now they have my info.
And that's another thing is if you get texts, emails, phone calls, letters, like right now it's text. Oh, you have a package. If you know you don't have it and you don't recognize the number, you don't have a package, just delete it.
Yeah.
Delete it, report it to your phone company. If you get an email and it looks suspicious, just report it to your email carrier and delete it. Do not respond.
Yes.
Do not. Now, he's going to give a link. That link's going to be okay. But usually, unless you know where it's coming from, you don't click on any links.
Yes, absolutely. All right. We're going to go to a second part here. Was there anything else you wanted to add as far as this segment?
No, I just hope people just have the courage and faith just to stand up and raise their voices when stuff happens to them that way, and not to give up. Most importantly, I just want those at the beginning of when they planted the plot and knew where to put me because of what I found out and whatnot, that they're held accountable. I don't think I wouldn't wish anybody to be abused mentally, physically, sexually, or any harm's way, and then get away and hide it and plant a plot and then break HIPAA laws that way just because they can do it. I just hope his master sergeant as well as my ex who broke HIPAA laws that they're held accountable. I mean, that's where it all started from the beginning, and that's where it needs to end.
Yes. All right. Thank you. All right, everyone. Please stick around for their next segment where we're going to bring in another advocate here for the situation and talk about how the children have been affected. Thank you.